So how do you enjoy peace of mind in a lawsuit? You do so by protecting your assets early in the process. Whether or not you are in a lawsuit right now, or you expect a legal threat to occur, you should know that it could always happen. As such, you want to make sure that you have peace of mind whether or not the legal threat has reared its ugly head. So for most people with significant assets, running into a predatory lawsuit is a huge concern. Other concerns include fear of divorce, the possible loss of a business in a legal battle, or automobile accident where you're sued for way more than your insurance covers, and the fact that many people find it difficult to depend on local banks and other financial institutions when a local lawsuit can simply reach in and empty those accounts. Of course, there are other reasons why you should protect your assets, but these are some of the more common ones. Now, there is good news. You don't have to lose sleep at night. You can live the asset protection lifestyle and sleep like a baby. You just need to know how. And that's what we'll talk about right after you help me out and click the like button for the YouTube algorithm so YouTube promotes this video. Thank you so much. And if you're new here or just need a friend, you can click the subscribe button below so that when more videos come out like this, you'll be up to date right away. Hi, I'm the Business Guy. I'm the CEO of Asset Protection Planners, the nation's largest asset protection firm. We're a service of Lawyers Limited, which started in 1906. We have attorneys on staff, so if you have questions, call us at the number below or fill out a free consultation form on our website. Okay, here's what we do. We set up an offshore LLC in the Caribbean island of Nevis. That's N-E-V-I-S. Nevis is located in the Caribbean Sea, southeast of Florida. We've set up thousands of companies there over the years, and they have some of the strongest asset protection and privacy laws in the world. Then we open up a bank account in the name of the LLC. At the same time, we set up an offshore trust to own the LLC, and we do that in the Cook Islands, south of Hawaii, or in Nevis itself, because these countries have the strongest asset protection trust laws. That way, if your local judge orders you to bring the money back on shore and hand it over to your legal opponent, our law firm / trustee can step in to protect you. Now, we'll go into more details in this video. Now, many people aren't familiar with investing finances anywhere other than the United States, if that's where you live, or the UK, Canada, Australia, if you live in one of those countries. Some simply feel it's easier to keep depending on banks in their own home country for their investments. The problem is that with 4.4% of the world's population, the US, for example, has 96% of the world's lawsuits. So one thing that financially well-off people know is this: you don't have any assurance of protection in your own home country when there's a 100% chance the courts are about to empty your local bank accounts. As a result, more and more people are turning to the foreign option to protect their assets. If you're not already aware of it, realize that the federal or state government can freeze any bank account in the U.S. and provide you with no warning as to why. Let me give you an example. One of our employees just had his bank account emptied by the tax authorities from the state of California. He had not been paying his California taxes for 7 years. Why? Because he had not lived or worked there for 7 years. It was a total mistake on the state's part. And it's been months of talking to heartless government personnel before finally realizing the state had made a big mistake. In fact, I just got off the phone with him a few minutes ago, and now he says California is trying to take another $65,000 for profit on the sale of a home 7 years ago. Two problems. First, he never owned the home. He just rented it. And second, the guy he rented it from still owns it. It was never sold. So if they seize his stock market portfolio and sell his investments, he'll be forced to pay taxes on the profits even if he eventually gets his money back from the state. And guess what? The government has no liability because they write the laws that indemnify themselves from their own mistakes. So there are many reasons as to why a bank account may get frozen, as in this case, there could be a huge mistake. There could be an erroneous filing performed by somebody else. You could fail to return a response to the IRS, or even suffer from a postal error. These type of things happen all the time with or without evil intent. Whereas we don't knowingly protect assets from government agencies, many of them have the ability to use similar strategies and mistakenly empty your local bank accounts. Furthermore, like we said, the government has legal protections in place preventing you from retaliating in court. Now, theoretically, you do have legal ways to handle accidentally frozen bank accounts and seizures. However, this action often requires paying lawyers and taking months of your precious time. So if you do find that the courts or the government has frozen your bank account, what money will you use to pay the lawyer? With empty bank accounts, you wouldn't be in the best position to hire one. So one of the first things you can do when you know how to protect yourself is to set up an international LLC and then use it to open an offshore bank account. Okay, now, are offshore bank accounts safe? Global Finance publishes a list of the world's safest banks. Guess how many U.S. national banks made the list? 40? 20 out of the 50? No, 0. Not even one. Not one U.S. national bank made the list. The only U.S. banks that made the list were 4, and they're all tiny farming banks that are all on the bottom half of the list. The remaining 46 banks are all offshore. By the way, don't be deluded by the FDIC. With the FDIC, we're talking about the backing of the most in-debt country in the world. So there are much safer banks offshore than onshore. Now, there's a great way to buy a little time for yourself to invest in a foreign bank or stock brokerage account. Having this type of account can help ensure you have money in case the courts freeze your local accounts. Note, however, that foreign banks are not necessarily free from seizure. The good news is that a light-speed seizure of a foreign bank account is very unlikely. So this can give you tremendous peace of mind. Seizure of a foreign bank account means the foreign government needs to get involved. This is something they're very unlikely to do unless it's an emergency such as terrorism or illegal money laundering. Thus, in the case of a local bank account freeze, your foreign bank account money still buys you enough time to have a cushion and a plan. Therefore, it's in your best interest to establish one as soon as possible if you don't already have one. It's better yet when you have an offshore trust, such as a trust in the Cook Islands or Nevis, own your offshore LLC. That way, our trustee/law firm can step in, as we said, to protect you in order to prevent a local judge from ordering you to return the funds back home. Your local judge does not have jurisdiction over our foreign law firm. You have online access. You can see your money online anytime you want. You can do your own stock trades or have a money manager do it for you. You have a debit card to buy the things you need. So you have access to your money, but nobody else can force your hand or take a legal backhoe and scoop your account dry. So one inexpensive ticket to some asset protection is to set up a limited liability company, LLC, in a foreign country. To start your company, you hire an experienced organization such as ours. We can file your company through the filing of specified documents in your chosen country. As we said, we highly recommend a Nevis LLC for most people. You can be both the LLC's manager and its only member, allowing you to adopt and approve the company's operating agreement, which will guide how you and any other members manage the company. Once you do this, you can act as the LLC's manager with your company's documentation and application and due diligence. You can open an offshore bank account inside of the LLC. From that point, you have the freedom to transfer cash and investments into the LLC accounts. And as the company's manager, along with a properly drafted operating agreement, you make the company's investment decisions. Now, using this type of LLC strategy, you can keep some of your assets in an account outside of your local country, making it more difficult for somebody to freeze and seize them. And an extra bonus is that a foreign LLC in an offshore bank account also leaves you with a wider option of investment choices than you would have if you had just left your money back home. Now, you might think a foreign LLC may simply offer you a wider range in your financial portfolio. However, it offers you far more than this to investors. One major benefit of a foreign business is that it exists apart from whatever is happening back home. This factor means that you may be able to stay safe from other domestic legal problems after you've started your LLC. You may run into many more than just this one lawsuit. Furthermore, if you develop this type of business based on your personal efforts, then it's far less likely to be a target in a lawsuit. As long as the foreign LLC is set up correctly, the business can operate outside of the local financial control. This type of setup makes the business far less likely to be gutted like a fish in a lawsuit. Now, some people who own businesses locally may work with foreign companies already. In this case, you have the option to move those non-local activities to your foreign LLC, which can help protect some of the aspects of your local-based business. Now, forming an international trust is quite possibly the most protective action you can take for yourself, your family, and anybody who inherits your assets. An international trust may cost a bit more, but the costs are typically quite reasonable considering the security this legal tool will give you. The money is most certainly worth it because in return for the cost, you wind up receiving the most powerful protection against predatory lawsuits, capital controls, or seizures. The trust also offers the additional benefit of putting your assets into an area that may help you with your inheritance planning and estate planning. An international trust that protects your assets will be irrevocable. This concept means that you cannot, as the settlor, directly make changes once you have set up and finalized the trust. Now, this is good because if you could easily make changes, then the judge could force you to make changes against your will. Most international asset protection trusts are also discretionary, meaning that when you make requests for funds or requests for changes, the trustee can make these changes or send out the funds to you when you need them. However, the trust will not send funds when you are being ordered by a court to send the funds to your legal opponent. So this type of trust puts you in a position of strength. They provide tremendous peace of mind when a creditor is barking at your heels. Now, if you decide instead that you don't want to give up management of your assets, so your local courts can't force your hand, you can limit the trust to owning your LLC. Therefore, the LLC will hold the investments and you will manage the LLC as long as you decide that it's in your best interest to remain manager of the LLC. So when the bad thing happens and you need the trustee to step in as LLC manager in order to protect you, that powerful option is at your disposal. Therefore, you have some very powerful options when you set up an offshore trust to own your offshore LLC. And we found this setup to be one of the best bets at protecting your assets and keeping your wealth safe. With these ideas and approaches available to assist you with your asset protection planning, you should be able to find your way through an asset management portal. The best thing to remember is that it's best to plan ahead and secure your assets before legal action. But if you waited until somebody already sues you, you still have options, and that can let you sleep well at night. Considering one or a combination of a few of these steps should assist you with your asset protection goals. With the ideas from this video, and by calling one of our in-house asset protection attorneys or consultants, we can help you set up the tools you need to lock your assets up tight so nobody can easily come and take them away from you. Feel free to give us a call at 1-954-400-1050 or fill out our free consultation form at assetprotectionplanners.com. Please click like, subscribe, and text a link of this video to others. We'll see you next time. This is The Business Guy.